Warning, what you are about to hear will disrupt the norm. We are the voice of the social misfit. We empower the outliers.
Nah, don't run from the discomfort. You need to stay in it. Feel the feels and feel some type of way. Let it hit your core, because that's where our healing and our change begins.
System malfunction. System override. I'm feeling triggered!
We're live right now. This is us live.
This is
Remember, we're looking.
Oh,
there.
right. That's
there.
right.
So we're live here.
are there.
We're not live here.
Hey y'all.
Hey,
I'm gonna try not
Going
even
on.
to look at the laptop. That's
But
gonna
when
be
we're
hard.
talking, we look at each other like the camera's not there, and then occasionally,
We
if
can
you have
invite
to
the
address
audience.
them specifically.
Okay, so that it didn't really matter that we were looking at the computer as much.
I mean, it does when you're talking to the audience because they're over there, and then we're talking to each other.
Hey audience.
Hey, audience.
Don't mind our playful banter. Stay right where you are.
We're just here.
I know.
We're just here today.
Hey.
Okay, so welcome to a special edition of Feeling Triggered podcast,
Hey.
where we've experienced some things and we're gonna say some things and you're gonna feel some type of way about it. Okay.
Yes.
So I am Lauren. Okay, let me start over. Hey you guys, I am Lauren, the founder and clinical director of Propel Production Center. Thank you so much for coming. And of course, I'm always with the homie.
I'm the homie. Jarrell T.G, owner and operator of the Griotsphere Productions, the production company that is producing this podcast.
Shout out to the Griotsphere.
Yay.
And normally the two of us are together,
Facts.
hanging out,
Right.
talking,
Right. We do that
unpacking
often.
stuff.
We do that.
But today is a special occasion. I almost said an extra special because,
It's extra. It is
Oh,
extra.
that's so funny.
Because
pretty
it's an
much.
extra
Yeah, it's
session.
extra.
but then I
extra
kept
special.
it to myself.
It's a special occasion to the second power.
So
I
you
like
guys,
that. I like that.
we-
Bringing the exponents.
Yeah.
Yes.
we officially now have a lost episode of Feeling Trigger podcast.
And
It's
it's lost
exclusive.
forever.
It's
It's
lost.
exclusive.
Out of there.
Lost forever. Like
Only
nobody
certain
will
people
ever
got
see
to
the
hear
face.
it.
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, man,
So
I'm
this
down
is
with that
super
knowledge. Yeah. Okay. Go
Whoa.
ahead.
That got dark. So so this is super special because the exclusive was so good.
So
it was
good.
so dope.
So
it was
dope.
woo, you had to lay back with the drums.
Lord was
drums, the
crying
gems.
a little
Stop
bit.
saying
We'll
that.
never know, will we? We'll never know.
We'll never know.
So we
we'll
had
know
to
they won't.
invite her back so you guys can just get a little glimpse, a little taste of what we heard during the lost episode. So
Yes, yes.
I want to welcome Teressa Waters,
Yay.
my
Hey,
mommy.
guys.
Mama T in
Yay,
the building.
I'm excited. This is
But she's
really,
so much
really
more,
cool.
so I'll let her introduce herself.
Thank you. I'm Teressa Waters, and I'm learning to identify myself at this new level of life. So I am learning that I am an author, and I'm a poet, and I'm a business owner, and I'm an innovator, and I'm an artist, and I'm creative, and I live for a living. So there is that.
How many people can say
All
that they
the
live
sauce,
for
all
a
the
living?
Living for a
Okay,
living.
All the
you heard it
sauce.
here. Shirts are coming out.
Boom.
Living for a living.
Hey.
We need to
Oh,
write
yeah,
that down.
Yeah,
So I
write
have
that
my
down.
notebook because I feel like I need to
Yeah.
capture some
have
of
to
this.
capture a lot.
So
Absolutely.
We already
And
have
then
one
also
idea.
make some time marks that you may feel like it's some impactful moments just to help me out in post. That'd be very helpful.
Oh, that's cool.
True. So this is season 2 of Feeling Triggered. I'm really excited that we're in our second season and we're in a different location. So hopefully every time you see different episodes, we'll be popping up at different small business owners.
Pop up.
You know, do some pop-up podcasting. Hashtag pop-up podcast.
Pop
Oh,
up
yes.
parties.
I did write it down.
Okay,
I might
write
have
it
to write that down too.
Yeah.
But so right now we are actually at Venues by Artesian. This is one of their venues.
Yes, and maybe you guys can see the space, but if you can't see it now, then you'll get to see it later. When
We'll drop it a little
We'll
bit.
definitely be here again
Yeah,
because Propel Bosses was here.
Fireside chat representing.
Oh yeah.
So that's going to happen. And a lot of those small business owners are looking at this space to rent. So coming to an event.
Oh, it's going to
Near
be
you.
live. We're going to have a lot of things
Yeah.
happening though, in this
gonna be all that.
particular space.
Just remember who did it first. Who was at Venues by Artesian first.
Yes, foundation. We were talking about the roots last time.
Oh,
Remember?
the
Yes,
roots.
yes.
That's
We were.
right.
Yeah. So I'm part of the tap root. So
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
We were. Oh, I'm gonna have to jot that down.
Yeah.
Hopefully
I
we.
know. Golly day.
So
we
we're
need a
gonna,
stenographer.
what we're going to try to do is we're not going to recreate, because I feel like it was just a moment all in itself. So we're not going to try to recreate last episode, but we are going to kind of use the same topical things. Of course, y'all didn't see it, so it doesn't really matter.
Right. You'll never know.
Right, but I appreciate your honesty.
Absolutely.
About that.
We just want to be, because we want to be transparent
transparent.
with our audience and make sure that they know
Absolutely.
that they right alongside us on this journey. So I guess we can start off with the Feel to Feel segment. That is the segment that we always begin our show with, because whether y'all know it or not, because she never tells anybody,
Oh, yes.
Lauren is actually a licensed clinical social worker as well as an entrepreneur. So all the mental health stuff,
Yes.
that's all her realm. So we try to make sure that we keep that at the forefront, even as entrepreneurs. So, Feel the Feels. Mama T, since you're our guest, how you feeling today? You feeling
Oh
good?
man, today I'm feeling really good. I got a chance to do what I like to do, which is woodworking. So I got a chance to do that, and I'm outside, and it's just great. And y'all are here, and we're just drinking our coffee and our fall beverages.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah, I mean Propel bosses, but they didn't hear
Yeah.
it. But yeah, so I'm feeling really good, and I'm just liking the opportunity to hang out with you guys and talk and just see what it is that you want to tell people and etc. This is a good day. Yesterday was not towards the end, but
All the
today is
sauce.
a good day.
All the sauce. Boss lady, how you feeling today?
So, I'm still feeling full, overwhelmed in a good way though. Just kind of having an idea for a really long time, and then starting to see the sprouts from last time. You remember the sprouts?
I remember the sprouts.
Yeah.
I remember the
So
sprouts.
I'm in a position where I'm like, you so eloquently put it, I'm starting to see like just glimpses of what something can be, and that's exciting. And I'm also transitioning from a space where I'm doing things all by myself, because we know being a small business owner, being an entrepreneur, a lot of the times it's just you and your laptop,
right.
you know, throughout the night, burning the midnight oil. But I actually am growing, and I'm making connections and relationships, so I'm feeling really full. And even earlier today, I was talking to my friends earlier, talking about transitioning to baby plug status. Because, you know, we
Ain't no baby. Ain't no baby.
need plug.
Where you gonna put the baby on there?
I mean, because it's not a full plug.
You
It's
been
just
plugging?
a
What
little
you-
baby plug.
Man, listen, when we get to our next segment, we'll talk about plug and we'll see what she talk about, because I can
I'm excited for
completely
baby plug
disagree with
status.
baby plug status.
No,
Like,
the only thing is like that's what is a baby
Yeah.
plug? I mean, I've heard of those plug protectors for
Right.
baby.
Right.
A micro plug.
right. Nah, we ain't going there.
Right.
But we'll get to
Anyway.
that. We'll get to that.
How are you feeling?
Man, the word I want to use is affirmed. Like,
man,
I had
that's
some
deep.
experiences today that just put me in a better space of really feeling affirmed and having strong confirmations that where I'm at, what I'm doing is what I'm supposed to be doing.
Right.
Like, because I feel like, you know, Mama T said, live for a living. And I feel like when you truly align, when you truly in your space, like I did a song this past weekend, and that's kind of why I'm feeling fulfilled and affirmed, because all the avenues to which I like to express was all kind of culminating in the same
that's
time
what's up,
frame.
yeah.
So it's like Friday I had a performance. I'll be performing this Sunday at well, y'all won't.
Well,
it'll be
yeah,
after
it
this,
would've
but
been
I would
after.
have performed at the Art Hills Fall Festival as of October 31st. So, you know, my teaching stuff is going bananas in just terms of not even like the amount of people I'm teaching, but like the impact that I can tell is happening with the conversations we're having.
Right.
And then of course the meeting we had today, and really sitting in a room with big wigs and really being able to stand there like what Jasmine like to say, stand there 2 feet flat and just speak your truth and be, you know, feel like you belong in the room. So that's a lot of affirmation for me. So I just feel affirmed today.
That's cool. That's what's up. That's a powerful word.
Yes.
Well, we're in a really good space here at Feeling Triggered. We're in a very good space right now. So I do have a trigger warning topic. It's not negatively charged, but I guess more so from an anxious state. And this is a little bit about what we talked about in the episode that's lost. It's really kind of focusing on, what did you call them last time? Big Kahunas?
Big kahuna moments.
Yeah.
Big kahunas.
Yeah.
Moments.
Yes, moments.
Disclaimer to all of the women, the feminists, we know it's more accurately to point to the female anatomy as far as strength.
We can
but
argue,
for
we're going to stick to the normal American lexicon and go big kahunas moments.
So I stand with you, but I'm proceeding.
Because I feel like kahunas don't necessarily mean like physically the anatomy. I know that's what people automatically relate to, but I definitely know a bunch of women that got way big kahunas than some dudes.
That's
that
facts.
Okay.
So,
Cool.
you know, I feel like it's just more of a
An easier pill to digest and understand.
We know what it means.
Right.
We know it's not
But
right.
for all
but we
of
know
the
what it
feminists out there, yes, the female anatomy is much stronger than the male anatomy in terms of whatever.
You about to
That's
go
all.
Dave Chappelle.
That's all. So there was a situation last week where a lot of stuff needed to be done. A lot of big, scary, like, am I ready? Are we ready? Do we have what it takes? Type of moments. And within myself, although I'm in these meetings, I'm very present, I'm taking notes, I'm writing all of this stuff down, but I know I'm definitely about to transfer it to a vision board, you know, a wish list,
17 steps first.
you know, just because I feel like I'm like, Propel is not there, I am not there, we are not there. That's a great idea. I'm a visionary, I'm a dreamer. Yeah, that's a great dream. Let's write it down. But before we even left the meeting, before we even left the room, this one right here was already tackling not one, I feel like a couple,
like 3 different
of those
situations that were
of
like
those
not
huge things, which brought Jarrell to bring up that fact that you have so much courage and a very anxious, like, anxiety provoking business. And I want you to speak a little bit about all those times you just was like, okay, that's the cliff, and then just run towards that cliff and leap off.
That's funny. That's interesting that you had said that. And last week was fire. It was electric. We had just contact with so many different people, which was really, really cool. But my thing, and I think you talked about this before, and you were talking about you know, when you taught your children, and you were telling them the differentiation between age, or however you said it. I don't know. But at any rate, what it meant, or what it boiled down to, is that we go along in our journeys, and everybody's looking for the truth, whatever that is. You know, people feel that, you know, everybody feels that their journey for the truth is the right direction. And so you do that. So I may be further along down this road than you may be. So when situations like that occur, it's easier for me to just respond to them because of the past performances and the past networking that I've had, past experiences and such. And so being able to do that was like, why wouldn't I? Because what they're doing, what Propel Production Center and Griotsphere is doing, you guys, it's real. It's like real time happening. And I've had personal experiences like that with other ventures and businesses that I've started and developed and such. But this is different. It's a little bit more electric because I think where we are in a nation is a little bit more static. There's a lot of buzz. There's a lot of electricity. And so what it is that you guys are doing is addressing that. And I know that you were talking and we were all talking, and I said, the creation eagerly awaits for the sons of God to be revealed, and they're here. They're right here, and there's so many more of them. I mean, like the Propel production, the Fireside Chat. I mean, we had Zoe Waters Real Estate. We had other businesses that are here, and these are people that are taking the baton and running, but not just running over people, running with people and bringing people alongside. And I think that's super cool. So yeah, for me to do those things, it's like, because my thing is like, all they can do is say no. And then that's fine. We shake the dust off and we keep moving on. And then when they come back around, I mean, we'll be here. We won't throw shade, but they'll at least know that they missed the grassroots opportunity.
And they know that price gonna be different.
Oh yeah.
Oh, sure.
Because
The
yesterday's
price
price
going
ain't
up.
today's
Oh
price.
yeah, no.
Right.
New
Yeah.
day, new price.
Yes.
So
I feel that.
yeah.
I feel that. I'm gonna receive all of that right there.
Yeah, definitely. Because, I mean, you guys do a good thing, and I like it. I like what it is that you do.
So I'm wondering what, maybe it's imposter syndrome. I'm not sure, but there is. So you have this fire. You have this vision. You have the skills, and all of those things are constantly being molded and perfected and getting better and better and better. I'm wondering what it is that is almost like this invisible blockade to not go, I don't want to say all in.
It's like, so I'm a fan of Pastor Mike Todd at Transformation Church.
Oh yes.
And he not this week's but last week's message, he was just talking about, in essence, he took his family of 22 people on an international vacation, and how many bags, like luggage bags, they had, and how we talk about somebody can plan for being somewhere, not being in that place, not it being the time, but be packing and planning for that moment and not even be there. So I feel like to your point, it's that blockade just comes in where, from that same narrative, you don't realize what you put in your bag. So you get at that spot and you're like, oh yeah, it's raining. Oh yeah, I did put a poncho in here. Cool, okay, cool. Oh man, it's hot, but I did put my sunglasses and my sunscreen in the bag. I planned for this. It's a matter of, and I don't know what's the, and you can probably speak to that from a clinical perspective, but I don't know what's the process of opening that proverbial bag and looking, even in the same way how we approach this podcast today. Because of what happened last time, we know now what needs to be done.
Right.
So so now we're ready. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I don't know what the clinical process of actually proverbially opening that bag and seeing that you're prepared for it, that will get you into the space of being like, all right, I'm just walking here and I'm gonna just do it like I know I can. Like,
That reminds me, that's funny you said that, because that reminds me when we were talking the last time and you were, we said this, that, and the other, and about, the event that, sorry, you guys won't be here, but saying, well, should we get this, or should we ask for these individuals to come because other individuals are coming? And I'm like, no, they don't need all of that. They bring their own entourage. They just need to come and see it.
Right.
And that's it. And like you said, so sometimes you overpack. You can overpack, and you be like, well, dang, I didn't even need that.
Yeah.
And I got all this baggage and all this stuff that I'm dragging. And at the end of the day,
Y'all about to have me
even
taking
need
notes. They about to have me taking notes in the podcast.
Like, I didn't even need that. And sometimes that weight slows you down. And that's speaking to it from a real life thing. So one of the things I wanted for my birthday, oddly enough, and I received, thank you, was a weighted vest. So when I walk without it, and when I walk with it, it's a difference. But the journey, or the pattern, or what do you call it, the laps or the route, I figured it out by myself. Thank you.
Oh,
Yes.
snap.
I was
So
gonna
the
never get this. You was just,
But the route is the same. And it's the same thing with what we're talking about. If you overpack because you doubt your abilities and you doubt what you are able to bring to the table, you're bringing along stuff that you don't need. And And I think that that's crucial. And I'm like speaking to myself too, but I think it's crucial for us to be aware of that and understand that. But a lot of times we don't know unless somebody comes and reminds us. Like, why you had that? You don't even have a dog. Why you got dog food? No, take that out.
Yeah,
So-
I agree with what both of you guys are saying. I am beginning to spend more time reflecting and like sitting and unpacking and going through my belongings at different checkpoints along the journey. But I don't think I've done that probably up until this point, because hustle culture, entrepreneurship is very much so go, 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 go. You don't really, there are checkpoints, but you don't really take the time or deem yourself worthy of taking the
Stop it.
time to say, let me stop, let me check my bags, what's going on in here. But then the flip side of that is also realizing you have a lot of stuff in your baggage and it's heavy. Not so much taking it out, but realizing now would be a pretty good time to phone a friend. Let's see who's available to help me carry this bag, because we're on in, like, when you thought about walking, I thought of like a hiker going up a mountain. And I was saying at certain altitude, the weight is fine. You know, you've trained for this, you've been built for this, you're conditioned for this, you have all the gear you need, but that oxygen level changes the higher you get. So it wanes on you, and then it gets to a moment where you're like, I don't know, let me ask for help. And those are those moments, I think, that kind of today, like October period, was just being able, people were just here.
People are here.
Like, not even no Indeed.com, no call to action on Facebook or social media. People just kind of popped up and just so happened to have all these skills and these connections and
fire.
Oh, I do this, it's no big deal, it's something I love doing. And I'm over here like,
That's
take
fire.
this, please.
But you know what, and I'm not going to talk anymore, but that's a lie, because I am. Because, like, what would I not talk? Yeah. So anyway, you both said something. One of the things is that you were talking about the oxygen level, and you also mentioned too about having to be around different people to make that support, to phone a friend. But if you're around people that are choking you and that are just really sucking all of the life out of you, and it doesn't even have to be intentional, but it could just be that subtle little thing that they do. And you know, we all have people that just have that subtle little thing that they do, and you're like, oh my gosh, it's almost like don't touch that phone when Slack calls. So they suck the life out of you. And even if the altitude didn't change,
I like
if the altitude didn't change and you were good right here, but now you're here and you can't breathe, it could very well be the connection. You know, it could be the connection that's choking the life out of you. So we got to be mindful of that too. And I think that's super important. You guys raise good points. Tag, you're it. Yeah, your eyebrows are up. So I mean, you got something to say.
Listen,
I had to look at him midway.
that's just a word. I mean, cause it's so crazy. And what's funny is Lorenzo of Zoe Waters Real Estate, he was speaking on that at the Fireside Chat, just talking about, you know, your idea being your baby, your creativity being your baby, and you not wanting to share that with people.
Right.
But the dichotomy of also how important it is that to put a village around that baby to ensure that it grows to the best that it can be. And it's all about that balance and really trying to focus on. And I think even past that, it takes us a lot of self-awareness to realize, you know, which people are beneficial and what people are not. Because one thing that I really, you know, admire about us as an organization, the Propel bosses that we're building, other collaboratives that are in the works, that we it's like we said last time, it's really no competition here. So it's like you're not looking at my baby like my baby look better than your baby. I bet if they race, I bet my baby would be able to, like, it's not, it doesn't have that. It's just like, yo, I see you are trying to develop a child of creativity that is, you know, that is one to be impactful in the world and that wants to help people and whatever. I'm doing the same thing. Let's make sure our babies have play dates as often so that they can rub off on each other and influence each other. And it's like, that perspective is so, what I have seen uncommon,
Right.
especially in this area, that I'm just glad that we getting the opportunity to kind of set that charge a little bit.
Yeah.
It's definitely a mindset shift, especially culturally, because we've been conditioned to believe that we're supposed to be crabs in a barrel. In order to get out, you have to pull somebody that's ahead of you down or next to you down. But understanding that that does not work, and understanding that there's a need for cooperative economics. So having the mindset of like, you have to succeed because my life depends on
Right.
your success, and my baby's life depends on your success. So what can I do to help you? And then to understand that they need me to succeed, and let me be responsible in that and ensure that I'm doing the best and putting out the best for my community. It definitely has to be a transition from individuality and individualism to community-based work, because that's how that's how the tide rises.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Bars.
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 It's so crazy. And what's funny is Lorenzo of Zoe Waters Real Estate, he was speaking on that at the Fireside Chat, just talking about, you know, your idea being your baby, your creativity being your baby, and you not wanting to share that with people.
Right.
But the dichotomy of also how important it is that to put a village around that baby to ensure that it grows to the best that it can be. And it's all about that balance and really trying to focus on. So I guess where you want to go from here? You want to go into our wellness wheel segment, or did you have another trigger warning?
We can go into the spiritual wellness space. Okay, so wellness. So when we talk about the wellness wheel, know that in order for us to be well, like optimally well, it goes beyond just physical health. It goes beyond just diet and exercise. There are 8 different areas within our lives where we have to be operating at optimum capacity in order to truly be healthy. So we go through all of those, and if you're interested in learning more, hit us up, because today we're only talking about spiritual wellness. So spiritual wellness means that you have a curiosity about the meaning of life, the meaning of your life. You're really exploring and figuring out what your purpose is. You're really connected and rooted. So we're going to talk about that. And things are sprouting. So we're going to talk about that around you. And it is all aligned with whoever your higher being or higher person is. Just having an understanding that things are connected and interconnected in order for them to survive. So we're going to be talking about spiritual wellness. And although we are open to all spirituality versus focusing exclusively on religion, I identify as Christian, so a lot of what I'm going to be saying is from the Christian space.
Amen.
And I know the homie and the mom are also in line with that, but I think that what we say is going to transcend literally any and everything. So
and I wanted to add to that, you know, we also have been in plenty of spaces where the resounding message behind what we're saying resonates across all types of spiritual paths of all different things, because at the end of the day, the truth is the truth.
Yeah, and I think everything that we say in love.
Absolutely.
Love and connection, and I think that transcends.
Because I think too, there's a difference between, well, not a difference, but not a lot of people. I keep throwing out and canceling out my own self, but there's that evangelical kind of Christianity thing. But it's not that, because I believe that really no one knows the mind of Christ. That's why I think everybody's journey to that truth is individual, and it doesn't matter what you touch along the way or what touches you, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. Because in all things, he's going to work it to the good of those that love him. So if your heart is to really, really, really find the truth, you know, it's whatever. And so that's what I like what you said about it. We're touching a lot of people because, again, like I said in the beginning, a lot of people are just looking for that truth. And they don't want to be boxed in the way that they're supposed to find it. It's you just have to be able to live. It did not. I know. Now that was the truth right
We
there.
talking about spirituality.
That was the
straight
truth.
it out.
But yeah. So I think just being able to say, hey, yeah, I'm a Christian. But what does that even mean? What does that look like? What does that mean now? Because that definition it evolves from me, because I know as a little girl it was one thing was what I thought my parents told me it was, and then as a teenager and a young woman growing up, it was like, oh, maybe this is it. And so just as you go and you, but I think as long as you're moving towards something, I think that's what the journey is about.
Yeah, and I feel like I consider myself to have grown my relationship with Christ from a very unorthodox perspective, only because I was very much unchurched for the most part of my life, with exposure to the religion, but more so, I would say, quote unquote, organically. And so when I say organically, it just means that I was introduced to Christ the way I feel like it's supposed to happen, which means through the actions of Christians, through the behavior, through the heart of the people who are representing who Christ was and who Christ is. And based off of that, the people who were wearing the labels at the time of my exposure were given a lot of things that were quite contrary to what I felt like was right, what I felt like was just, what I felt like was, the definitions, because I wasn't as, engulfed in the word like I am today. So I'm only going off what I see. And I'm like, y'all speaking on one thing, as you said, but completely acting in another way, treating people in another way, but then are trying to have reverence as these, Christians. And I feel like, Jesus came and said, the last be first and the first be last. I didn't come here to serve, but be served. So if you're not representing from that perspective, for the unconscious person, for the person who doesn't know those words, all you see is somebody who wants to come and seek power, wants to seek authority over other people, wants to tell people how they're supposed to live. And that's no way, form, or fashion that how the God that I know represented himself when he was here. So it's like that unorthodox way of getting it, and then growing to come in contact with true people of God, and then getting that understanding for myself, as you said, in my own journey, made me kind of really find a whole new value from, like, I don't even got to talk about it. I want you to see it and then seek it.
Right.
Like, because if I'm trying to shove it down your throat, it's force feeding. That's not even how God wants us to receive it. So I'm trying to put myself in the space of, I'm going to model the behavior, I'm going to model the heart posture, and then from there, you'll be like, because that's how I felt. I'm like, you see people like I got around you guys, certain other people that I can think of off the top of my head, and it's just like, it's something different about you. It's something that you have that it's just illuminating. It's like radiant in spaces. I want to figure out what that is.
Right.
And once that curiosity happens, then the whole teaching process and the whole introduction process. But I feel like for the large majority of people, they've run away from God or run away from, God as we see him represented, not because of God himself, but because of the people who are representing him.
That is true.
So I want to definitely,
That just reminds me of a stanza from a poem that I wrote, and I'm not trying to plug my poem. But
Dead fish don't bite. Get it everywhere.
It's on Amazon.
Barnes & Noble and Kindle. I mean, they started it, so I figured, But it just goes like, what are we supposed to do? We who walk in the way. And how do we change the course at the dawn of the day? And all the noise in the street, pleading mercy from God, they begging for the children's bread. They wanting food for their dogs. We need to change the way that we're going. And I think that's so key and so relevant. And I won't go on. Y'all figure it out when you get the book. But because what we see, we respond to what we see. More better than what it is that we may read, and we're not going to experience it just from reading it. Just like history or science or any other things in school books, you don't go out and have a desire to experience nature because of what you read. But if your science teacher was taking you outside and doing all of those kinds of things and experiments, you'll be more inclined to experience. So yeah, I definitely agree. It's imperative And it's important that we light that way, that we show, and that we just, because nobody wants to hear a bunch of words, just walk it.
I like what you guys said about not really receiving. Well, it doesn't sound like Christianity aligns with the traditional or how it's supposed to cookie cutter way for either of you, and I think that resonates with me as well, because a lot of the times lately I have been really hearing God through like Marvel movies. And
secular things, Lauren?
yes.
No.
Yes, I have really been getting some like gut wrenching like messages from just watching or doing fun things or having casual conversations, but someone has that one liner and it's like
oh, you meant for me to hear that.
so that was for me, and it's exciting because a lot of the things that I've been hearing lately kind of aligns with what I want to do for the community, which kind of answers my constant question is like, is this what I'm supposed to be doing? Is this what God wants for me to do?
Yeah.
Is this my purpose, or is this my desire? Or is the purpose and the desire one thing? I don't know. So I've really been getting a lot of response, and it's kind of like, oh, let me write that down because I could transition that into a lesson plan, hit Jarrell up, like Remix Rage with the Hulk analogies and that
and it hit
that wasn't me.
That was fire.
So crazy.
Yeah.
Y'all go check that out. It's on YouTube. Check out our Remix Rage theme song. Let y'all know exactly what we talking
The
about.
theme song and the curriculum, because it really breaks down anger and it makes it so palatable to everyone else. And I think that that's kind of low-key what we should be doing if we are really disciples, making things plain, basic, digestible, relatable, fun things to do, culturally relevant. And I think that Propel Production Center does that with mental health, because mental health has always been this huge, abstract, dark cloud that everyone shunned, institutionalized, hospitalized, like prayed out, did not like spirituality and my right, and mental health did not intersect. So just kind of understanding to make things plain and make mental health just a regular casual conversation. I can check in with you and you can share and we can talk about our thoughts and feelings, and it's no big deal, and no one's weak and no one is any type of thing. So I'm really appreciative that my spirituality is kind of aligning with my career, and I think that we move towards wellness when all of our different areas are aligned, because I think you said once before, whether it's in a podcast or in a conversation, how you present, or you had to, or you felt compelled to present one way in one position or one aspect of life, but someone else, it was your artistry, but someone else, when you went to this platform, or someone else, and figuring out how can I align all of me and all of my authenticity into one being and be that being regardless of where I am. And I think that I'm getting closer to that too. Figuring out who I am is one hurdle, but then also figuring out, hey, I'm different in different things. What aspects do I want, and how do I mold that clay, or God molds that clay so I can present as just one consistent
I think that's it. Y'all need to elaborate, because that conversation last time was fire.
Yeah, and so to kind of piggyback off what she said, I was talking about my journey and how a large part of finding my purpose was getting to a place to where all of my expressions are able to be cohesive and authentic no matter where I show up to. So to give you context, of course you guys know I do hip hop. I'm a hip hop artist. I say hip hop artist, so I say MC, because rapper automatically carries a certain connotation, a certain label that might not align with my other attributes. I was also an elementary school teacher for quite a bit of time. So me being a rapper or a hip hop artist or whatever might not necessarily align for most people in those two spaces, to whereas I can be the artist and then show up as the first grade teacher, and that person did not change. And then the same individual who was the artist, who was also the elementary school teacher, show up in a business meeting and have conversations about dollar amounts that I never even realize I would be asking somebody for, to hand me a check in my hand for that much. and stand with the same confidence that teacher did and that I'm doing on stage, and that person be all in one. But I would even take that a step further to what you said, you know, in God molding the clay, realizing how God is playing a role in each of those spaces through me, and how I'm supposed to take that responsibility and actually represent God in each of those avenues of my authentic self. So it's like, because once again, for a time, I had a very negative connotation on what the world thought of church folk or Christian people because of the interactions that I personally had. So I'm like, if I had it, then I'm sure a lot of people who can't see past that, you know, they gonna have even more of a negative connotation. So me openly speaking about God is a fairly new thing because of that aspect. So and to even go further, being molded, as you said, to feeling like you are you have the authority to speak on who God is to somebody, whether they know who God is or not. Because also in the Christian space, you'll run into people that the minute that you mention God in any way, form, or fashion, they're out now to intellectually prove that they know about God, know more about God than you, to belittle you in that space. I've experienced that as well. So it's like having all of these, what Lauren would probably consider emotionally traumatic events happen, and then have to not just feel them, but then empathize with other people as to not take that same approach. So it's the whole spiritual journey and how it is so woven into your overall wellness. It's like every piece is going to still speak back to that. So if that was one piece that's missing.
Another thing that I said after hearing that was, that's so applicable to me where I am within my occupational space and how spirituality bleeds into that. Because when I first started writing about Propel in 2013 in grad school, I danced. I was an avid dancer, and I had recently decided I'm not going to go into baking and pastry certificates. So I like to bake. So dancing and baking was my thing. When I wrote Propel, the very first program was a baking school where kids learn to bake.
I remember.
And then they would get internships and such. But now I don't dance anymore. Yeah. And I've found new like artistic expressions. Like I garden now, I do aromatherapy now. And I felt like I'm not who I say I am. I'm not an artist anymore. I like interior design, but I don't dance anymore like I used to say. So that's just, I don't know who I am anymore in this space. So I'll just be the social worker. I won't be the social worker and the artist, which I used to be.
You can be everything.
So figuring out that, well, also because in entrepreneurship you get these messages to find your lane, find your niche,
and don't you hate
find your lane, your niche. And I was like, okay, so if I'm so I can be a social worker and an artist. Okay, that's already 2 lanes.
That's like, whoa, you're
but
us too
now
much.
you want me, I can have multiple lanes within art. That's too many lanes. That's a whole highway. That's
DSW shoes.
That's too many lanes. So I would always try to be like, just pick one, or just say social work. Just pick one, or just say social work. You don't spend time rattling off all these things that you like. And I really felt like angry and upset.
He's gonna go through the front. We don't have guests yet. Okay. You can edit that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And I felt.
Since you're editing, hi baby.
Hey. So after realizing like, okay, I need to get small. I need to fit in a lane and make it work. I would get so angry and frustrated. Like, why did you even show all of these things to me? Talking to God. Why did you even show all these things to me? Why did you let me honestly be good at these things? No experience, no education, just trying it and loving it and doing well. Why did you show me all these things if I'm supposed to just fit in a lane and a niche? So that really toiled with me. So after talking it out with you guys and realizing like, show up as your full self, take up space. That's becoming a thing now, thankfully. Take up space and be all of those things. And I've been doing that, and I've really been Yeah. Okay.
showing
Even talking to Jarrell about how can we showcase all of these different things.
And the thing is they don't even have to be showcased all at one time.
Yep.
Because if we're in the spirituality lane, when we think about Christ, he didn't showcase we don't know everything about him.
About to say that.
Yes.
We do not know everything about him. And then you had mentioned something too earlier, Jarrell, regarding, wrapping yourself up. Now you're all cohesive and you're into this one space, and then figuring out where it is that we need to go. Sometimes I think, just for me, our journey is, we're clay. And so the clay can't tell the potter, like, you know what? I know you're not fixing to make me into a plate, because what you're not going to do is that. I'm going to be a this or that or whatever. And so it's just there. It just exists. It doesn't talk back. It doesn't have an opinion. It doesn't have an agenda. But what it does do is it molds, or it allows itself to be molded into what the potter wants it to be. And then it just bees that. And just like with these mugs, they're all porcelain they're all mugs, but they're all different. And it doesn't mean that you have to just specifically only drink out of an orange mug. You can drink out of any one of them at any given time. So I think that's really important, and it's just really good to know and to hear about your exploration of your journey and your, trying to be cohesive about everything. Heck, I'm, older than you guys, and I'm still not there. It's not, oh, cut that, because nobody's supposed to know, but yeah, but I'm still not even there. So yeah, finding your lane, it's like, you know what, if we went from here to Baltimore, we wouldn't stay in the right lane the whole while there. We're going to switch lanes. We're going to take an exit. We might stop and go do whatever, but we're going to switch lanes, but we're still moving forward. And I think that's key. So it doesn't necessarily matter which lane you choose to be, whether it's a teacher or an artist or a rapper or MC or a interior designer. It doesn't matter. You're still moving forward. And that's what it's all about, because since we don't know the mind of Christ, we don't know the vastness of his plans for us. And heck, and even when we think we do, he's able to do exceedingly and abundantly more. So we can't even think about it. It's just a mind blow. So yeah, forward moving and onward. You guys are tried, and which is cool. I'm a root.
And another, was that
What was
beep
that
something?
name? What
Did
did
it
that
turn
mean?
out? I'm getting so
Okay. Yeah, I'm like,
that's
okay,
the
what's that?
anxiety right there.
No, but I heard the bing too, and
Yeah,
I'm
nah,
thinking
that was
last
like-
time. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool, we back up. I'm back at it.
Another aspect or intersect for me between spirituality and occupation was experiencing burnout really frequently, and just kind of being in a posture of, first of all, you gave me this vision, you gave me these ideas, you gave me these skills. What's up? Why am I experiencing so much stress and burnout and anxiety about things that you have for me? Like, and understanding that I needed to start, I felt like I was root bound, like a plant. So I'm getting into aromatherapy now, I'm getting into gardening now. There comes a time where you first plant a plant in a pot, and that plant has so much space, moving around. And it's important to realize that over a certain period of time, the plant, all of the roots start to encapsulate and root to one another, and eventually the plant dies because there's nowhere for the roots to go. So you have to repot that plant and allow the roots to spread out. So there's been a time where I moved from a pot to the garden, and the plant intersects with a lot of different other roots. So I think that for me, in order to help relieve myself of a lot of stress and anxiety and overwhelm, I have to be connected. Like, I have to stretch out and reach, like actually ask for help or ask for connection, ask for partnerships, ask for collaboration, move locations, explore different soil, test things out. And I'm just so grateful to have other plants, other people that I'm just able to stretch and connect, and our roots interconnect and grow and fortify and strengthen one another. And then once the roots are secure, more like the plant grows.
Yeah.
So there's also, sometimes there was a feeling of stagnation, like, where are the flowers? Where are the
Where's the fruit?
flowers?
Yeah, right.
Why is the plant still this little plant? So once the roots were able to stretch and grow, the plant grew. So I think I'm in that spot of kind of repotting and reaching and bumping into others. And I think the plant is growing.
And that's funny because just by your analogy in the beginning, you're going to have to do that same thing again. Because your space is going to get too small. And you're going to be just out there. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
I know.
Right.
What can you say? You brought up the root last time, so.
He brought up the
He brought up the sprout, too.
Yeah.
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 That's just,
I know.
That's
I
why
hope
it's
that you
important to
took
stay
something
connected.
away from
connected.
something that we said in this segment. Because honestly, when I was thinking spirituality, it wasn't going to go in this way, but it went all the way left, and I think it was worth it. So someone's over there receiving.
And I mean, even more to that, it's like realizing once again how vital that spiritual aspect, that sense of purpose, that sense of understanding of life is to your overall wellness. Because I feel like all of us spoke to the same thing, that you can't possibly take that journey without some level of understanding. That's where the roadmap comes from. So just be mindful of, you know, and I feel like on earth as it is in heaven. So even when you're talking about your root system and understanding that it takes connection with other people, I feel like even your spirituality, it takes the same thing.
Absolutely.
A lot of people, especially in this pandemic, they've gotten so accustomed to, their praising, their worship, their spiritual foundation being secluded. And I feel like one thing, and it doesn't, but I think the thing that comes out of the pandemic is that it doesn't have to be the four walls of a church that connect and cultivate people collectively.
Absolutely.
Like, it can be anywhere. It can be on the Feel and Trigger podcast.
Oh, yeah.
What else do you
As
know?
a matter of fact,
mental
it is
health,
on the
entrepreneurship, and God, all in the same space.
Absolutely. You're just so point on, because like you said, we can't be confined. I mean, because Christ isn't confined. I mean, if he's everywhere and if he's all things to all people, I mean, and he can't be that if he didn't say, I am that I am. So, I mean, so you have to get out there and you have to make those connections and you have to stay engaged, whatever that looks like, for your journey. And I think that's so important. It's really good to be able to have people that are the same like mind. And that's what you said, like as a gardener, those things that we do, or those people that we have to watch out for that suck the life, we have to be able to prune our own situation. And we can't be afraid to do that. And sometimes just reaching those connections or reaching out, just like you were saying, you need to say, hey, I need to check in, I need to make sure you're there. That takes a degree of vulnerability. And if you're not vulnerable, then you're going to remain afraid because you're not going to take that chance. And that was me for so many years and for so long. And but vulnerability, because at the end of the day, whether somebody receives your message or not, it doesn't define what your message is. It doesn't water down what your message or your vision or your passion or your drive or your commitment to, your goal. It doesn't water it down, it doesn't change it. It just adds, they just say what they want to say, and they have that right. So, forward moving. I'm excited. You guys y'all are just getting big for the Lord. I'm psyched. That's cool.
That made me think about what the trigger warning I actually wanted to talk about.
What was it?
But this will.
You have to write that down. Yeah.
What?
Okay, go. But still write it down because we're not finished.
I will write it down. I will write it down. Did you have more spiritual wellness?
No, I was trying to give you an opportunity to write but can you write and talk? Because that write and talk thing throws me off sometimes.
I started strong, but there's.
All right, so you're going to fill in a void while you write? Okay, so, write down what you were going to say, then come back to it. Great.
So I think what she's going to tell us is that the trigger warning will be a teaser for what our next episode is going to be. Or did you want to get into the full extent of the trigger warning?
No, the trigger warning was going to inspire the final segment
Okay.
So our final segment is the art of expression. And that is when we talk about our favorite genre of art or media. And we talk about how we use that and how it impacts our wellness and what that looks like. But I was going to ask you as our guest, and let's talk about design, interior design or fashion design, and talk about how you exist within spaces as an artist. Visually, how do you visually and what was that journey? Because I remember talking to you about almost turning away from your deepest, your deepest, purest like desires for how you want to present yourself as an artist. But then figuring out, you know what? Life is short. I am amazing. This is what you see and this is what you get. So can you share with us within the art of expression? We don't even have to talk. We could just listen. But kind of talk a little bit about your artistic expression, like visually. And right now, as we can see, you're repping your artistic expression right now.
Okay, so this is my canvas. And this is like how I like to present myself. I never wear matching earrings. They're all different. And I just, I don't know. I just don't like to be bound. It's so funny. I've been, okay, so how long? Let me see, 80. Let me do some math. Wait. How long have I been married? What is this, 87?
87.
I don't know. I've been married for a lot of years. And
34?
like 37 years, 34, 7. It's beyond 3 decades. And it's hilarious because one of my favorite cousins asked me, like, you're getting married? Like, I can't commit. And I think it's because I am kind of whimsical, not quite as spontaneous as I could be or should be at times, but I like being outside. When I'm out like this, I'm inspired to do a lot of things. I listen to music all day long. I listen to music while I walk, while I work, while I cook, even when I was out here sanding earlier with the drill, I'm listening to music, but I can't really hear it, but I know that it's there in the background. And I think that, I even forgot what your question was, but I think that for me, moving across different genres of art, whether it's my poetry or whether it's writing, because I am working on my memoirs, or whether it's just wearing what I feel like I want to wear, or whether it's woodworking, or whether it's doing something with material and et cetera. I just, that's my high. That's just, when I'm there, I'm in the zone, it's fire. And when I create pieces, especially with the woodwork, because I'll have some canes that I'm working on now, but when I create them, I have to feel the direction of the wood. I literally clean the wood, and as I'm cleaning this wood, I'm examining it, I'm looking at it, and I'm trying to make that connection. And there's been times where I've taken a piece of wood, cleaned it, and it takes a little bit of time to do that and let it dry and let it do what it's going to do, and then I don't like it. And I put all that time in because I can't make that connection. So I think with everything that I do and everything that I try to have around my house to represent who I am, or just to remind me of authenticity, I have to have a connection. I have to have a buy-in with it. So I don't know if that answered your question.
I was asking about your outfit, but
oh, I thought that was like a sidebar.
But that was also good information too.
So my outfit, I did start in that genre. So my outfit, I like to wear a lot of different colors at the same time that don't match. And to me, they come together. Now, whatever it is that you're feeling about it, it's irrelevant because I'm liking this. I got on the green and the black and the pink and the royal blue and the leather band and this and the crystal necklace, and because it makes me feel very much unique. And I think that everybody.
Oh my gosh!
Oh shoot!
I'm so sorry.
No, I
thought
did it last
was on
time.
vibrate.
I did too when mine did it, but cut that part out. But anyway, I feel very much like. I don't have to ask any question. It's like the outfit announces me. And wherever it is that I'm going, it's telling people something about me. So when they come up and however they receive that message, and if they choose to engage me, and sometimes they're taken aback, like, oh wow, man, I didn't even know. And sometimes they don't. It's just like a head nod, or and you just know that, because I think that the way that you present yourself, or the way that I present myself with my clothes, just you can kind of know how I'm vibing,
So and first of all,
Let me put this off.
that's dope. And I feel like that takes a whole different level of all types of things that we can't even like begin to talk about, like confidence and self-awareness and all these other things. Look, what do you feel is the, I guess it's a two-part question. So what do you feel like, especially being that you've been a long-time entrepreneur, walking into spaces that are more, because I mean, me and Lauren kind of ran into this
Now he getting into
situation
the trigger
today.
warning.
Yeah. Showing up as in your artistry and your authentic self, but when specifically when that doesn't necessarily align with the culture of that particular place, how do you?
That's kind of interesting, because I mean, it happens all the time. And so my thing is that when I was growing up, I was a military brat. I was an Army brat. My dad was always really make sure you know how to speak the King's language. Okay, fine, whatever. So when I'm in spaces like that, and people kind of judge, or they kind of write my script, and then they give that to me, and I shared this with you the other day, and I was talking to Angie about it too, and I was like, I just had a problem with stuff, because I'm like, I'm not doing that, and I'm just not doing that. So I think that my words, or lack thereof, convey what I'm saying. And I think when I come into a space, or when I've had situations where, say, it could even be an interview, I might roll in, I won't have on the pants, but I mean, I'm going to roll in with something. I'm going to block my colors or something. Something is going to be mismatched. And so when there's that look, I'm like, you don't have to limit me by what you see. I worked for the CIA for a lot of years, and I worked in the Directorate of Intelligence for a while, and at that time, back then, I was like a GS 13 step whatever, and I would brief these SIS level individuals, and it was very uncommon, not super uncommon, but uncommon for a black woman to hold that position. And aside from God, I don't even know how I got there. But yeah, so I would do these diversity management meetings, and and I'd come in, I'm like, okay, well, I'm standing up here. I'm like, okay, what do you see? Look around the room. What do you see? What do you, okay, everybody's head nodding. When you look at me, what do you see? And then people's like, a smart, intelligent woman, this, that, and the other. And I'm thinking to myself, you don't know if I'm smart, because I haven't said anything. I've only asked you what you see. And so scurrying around the issue of my blackness, my comeback would be, well, when I look in the mirror, what I see is a black woman. And so from there, all of those other things could be byproducts or not. I may not be smart. I may not be intelligent. I may not be any of those things that they said, but one thing that I am is that I'm black. And I think that alone with us, I think we have that jewel, we have that gem that people want, because the root, and despite all of the negative innuendos and stereotypes about our race, who doesn't want to be that? You listen to music on movie themes. You don't have a whole bunch of other movies, but you got a lot of rap music or movie themes, and you got a lot of this. You look at fashion and how we, tend to drive that. You look at a lot of things. And so I think that when we get to that space, and where we can understand that right there alone gives us a springboard for uniqueness, then we're more inclined to be unique and focus on our own individuality and make those connections with other people that are also unique, but not necessarily the same, but we have a common bond. It's a long question.
And I feel like that realization, that's funny, long question. I
A long answer to a short
Shut the alarm
question.
off.
I feel like that realization takes a really long time to come to pass because being birthed and raised in a society who makes it abundantly clear
Yeah.
we don't want you, you don't belong, type of thing, but give me all that, like, but give me what you got,
What you got.
type of mindset. It definitely puts you in a posture where you're doubting or unsure or seeking some type of validation. Now, we're not saying if that's right or wrong. We're just saying what it is. I mean, that's just what it is.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to figure out who our artistic expression should be at really pinnacle, critical moments and junctures in our lives, because we are conditioned to cold switch and assimilate.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of that code switching, we're not showing up as our authentic selves. So when we're artists and or entrepreneurs and we're asked to show up in corporate sectors and, you know, talk about our programs or our passions or what we want to do or and who we are, even if we're writing grants and they're coming for site visits, or how do we show up and be true to us, but also, I don't even know how to ask this, be accepting, but do we want that? It's this weird like
weird
song and
space,
dance, like
space.
how do I ensure that I get my needs met for whatever my business venture is, and also stay true to myself, but also not be so
Regimented and controlled.
Abstract, different.
I get that, and it's a hard space to maneuver. You had mentioned earlier too with your checks and not even being able to see yourself receiving that type of money for services. When I started Cross Cultures Learning Center back in '96, the hardest thing for me to do was to ask for tuition. I'm like, I freaking know what time. It says it in the contract when the tuition is due, but you're here and you're acting like, I don't know. And so I realized that that was a weakness and that I had to address that. So I just practiced, and over a period of time, you learn. Other people are there beside you to validate, which is again the connections. But over a period of time, you learn to be resilient, and you learn to have the necessarily grit. I think one of the things that was helpful for me was that I homeschooled my kids, and so we just kind of lived out loud in front of them. A car got repossessed. That was a lesson. Like, look, don't buy nothing you can't afford to keep. You remember that when we said?
Yes, I remember that.
They came, pull it out, open up. Look at him. No, I'm holding it. Yeah. So you just learn those things and you move forward, because at the end of the day, when you think about it, as children of God, we're like invincible. You know, we're more than conquerors. We're invincible. That doesn't mean that we can go out here in the middle of the highway and not get hit and die. But we can't fail at what it is that we're doing as long as we're moving towards that truth, as long as we're moving towards that knowledge that helps fire us, you know. And I think and in order to do that, you have to move. And it doesn't matter, like, oh my gosh, you can't even tell me what scripture, what book or chapter this scripture. That's irrelevant. You know, if a person really wants to know what scripture you spouted, they could look it up. So that's irrelevant. But what's relevant is, what are you doing with the seed that you've been given? Because it's imperative for us to plant those seeds. And then not only that, it's our job. I mean, like when there were sowers back in biblical days, they didn't have like tractors and stuff making those fine lines. They had a pouch. They were just throwing seeds. Where they land is where they land. So I think we're supposed to be of that mindset. Just sow the seed, and God will give the increase the way He sees fit. And so whether a seed falls on the cement and the bird eats it, well, it's still beneficial for the bird. It may not have helped your business, but we're not single-minded. And you all mentioned this before. It's not just about what it is that I can do and what I can get from your baby. Your baby and your baby, they got to connect with my baby, so we have strong babies. So I think when we get to that point, it's easier, and it becomes more realistic. It's just more part of life, you know. So,
Man.
yeah.
I like what you said about just sow the seed, because I think a lot of us as entrepreneurs want things really nice. We want them perfect and
yeah.
nice and polished. We work hard on it. We want them to be incredible and amazing. And I think that derails or at least postpones a lot of seeds that we have stored in our storehouse that are ready to go, but we're like, no, not yet. We gotta wait till so we can afford this camera or this this. And I like that you said that back in the day. He was just throwing seeds. They were just throwing them.
Seeds. And,
so just do what you need to do within your capacity, and the increase will come in due time. But don't sit and wait.
Yep,
with all your seeds, because you don't have that tractor
I got
trailer.
A lot of seeds.
I want to plant, but first I need to be able to afford the deluxe tractor. Just throw them out there and see what happens. And the seeds that are supposed to grow will grow, and the seeds that are supposed to do other things will do other things. So I like that, especially dating it back to how do you show up prepared to sow those seeds, and how do you show up to those meetings as an entrepreneur or an artist within corporate spaces or just spaces in general, where you're being vulnerable and just saying, here are my seeds.
You're like Oliver Twist, please, sir. And it's not even that.
So I make so
like when Oliver Twist, he's like, may I have some more, please? It's like, no, it's not even that. It's like, boom, here it is. This is what I got.
Man.
Oh my God. I was
Jarrell, first of all, Jarrell's like, another editing moment.
Listen,
He's gonna edit that.
Oh, y'all already know. Y'all gonna get every little piece that we got for y'all. That's not even a question.
Okay, sweetie.
I was like, but Oliver Twist didn't give anything. He was asking.
Yeah, he was. You're right. Edit that, Jarrell. Cut that out. Go ahead, baby.
I don't remember what I was gonna say.
So I don't know. Since we're in the art of expression, I actually got a verse that I want to share with the audience that I feel like would summate all of what we talked about today. So I don't know. Permission to bless the audience.
Man, I don't think you need permission. I'm wishing I had bars. We had a poet earlier. Now we about to get a lyricist.
So it'll go like this. It say, do you and be proud. No need for cocky. See, I speak the future like every bar is a prophecy. I am the ruler of my realm. This space belongs to me. Constructed for me. It caters to me. Why? Because you ain't done what I done or seen what I seen. And he ain't did this for fun. He got you where you should be. He placed us all with plan and purpose, all so that we can do the things we supposed to do and meet the folks we should meet. Impact the world how the divine author wrote it. That's the way it's going to be, whether you want to promote it. Everything is for you, is yours. It's the truth, and you can quote it. You're going to reap the harvest of the seeds that you're sowing. But where'd you get your seeds from? That's a word to my folks that don't believe in nothing. So hush, little baby. Shh. Don't cry. Stick with God. It's the reason he the most high.
You better shut your mouth when
So I guess we'll have to have a closeout like that every time.
Yes.
World premiere. That's the first time we heard a poet spit and an MC spit here on Feeling Triggered. I'm going to have to get my bars up.
Get the bars together.
Be like, okay,
Get the bars together.
You wrote that down. Bars.
Write that down. Get bars. Level up.
That was fire.
Yes.
That was fire.
Thank you.
Yes.
No, that was really good.
Yeah. So that's from a song that I call Do You. The song is literally called Do You. It said, I can't see below me, keep my focus to the sky. The world can never hold me, I know I was born to fly. Mom always told me it ain't never a need to lie. And the Lord gonna always show me all our needs, he will supply. So do you.
Yes, dude. Yes, do that.
And what was the name of yours?
I don't know. I got so many. So that
you gotta
was
just get the book. Just get the book. Dead fish don't bite.
That one was called The Way. That was called that was from the point of the way.
You need the whole package. You need the whole package.
Right. Get it.
Facts. So, Boss, you got any church announcements before we get up out of here? No. I'm just
hurrying.
So mine will just be written in the King's English. No rhyme or reason. You guys, please check out Remix Rage Smash Room. Since we're talking about feeling triggered and feeling all these ways, if you need a healthy and safe outlet to express and release all your tension, frustration from your day, or if you're just looking for something fun to do, definitely, go to Remix Rage Smash Room Instagram page or our website and book a session. Try it out. If you are connected to an entity that has young people, so I'm thinking churches, I'm thinking schools, I'm thinking community centers, I'm thinking juvenile detention centers, book Remix Rage Smash Room to do a mobile or like an in-person field trip for your kiddos, because we're still in COVID-19 and it's a lot going on and we're not really processing with them. So we need them to have the curriculum and the Smash Room truck pull up.
Absolutely.
So hit us up with that.
Festivals, carnivals.
Yes.
Anything, man. We out there.
Definitely. And if you have donations, say you don't fit in that category, but you got like microwaves or small TVs or small appliances or stuff like that, we need those items. They are important. Please go to Remix Rage and DM Lauren, or find out how and where you need to leave your donations.
You can email us at info@propelproductioncenter.org.
We'll put it right here.
Okay, we'll put it right there.
Yeah.
So all of those inquiries. That's
Absolutely.
the church announcement. Second church announcement. Propel bosses. We've been talking about it for a little while during this episode. So if you're a small business owner, if you're an artist, if you're creative, and you're at home on your laptop working day in and day out on your project, but you don't have that tribe to rally behind you and support you, or you don't have that outlet where you can just vent the frustrations of your day in isolation, hit us up. Come see us at Propel Bosses, because Propel Bosses is a small business support group for entrepreneurs and artists. And we meet every second Friday, hopefully at venues by Artesian.
Right
here with the fireside chat, but it's going to get cold, so we're going to figure it out.
We're going to have a
bigger
fire.
We'll be somewhere every second Friday. Oh, bigger fire?
Yeah.
Okay, well then, boom.
Yeah.
So we'll be here, and there's a space for you here. A lot of times with entrepreneurship or networking, you kind of feel on the outside, like, I don't really know if this scene is for you.
Everybody's in the
There's a
boat.
space for you here.
Be here.
So
Everybody's
Propel
in the boat.
Bosses.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I think is there something else? Oh, so let me tell y'all something. So both Propel Production Center and Griotsphere have programs and services that are available for you to book. So if you're interested in any art-based mental health programs and services, or if you're interested in any media arts and digital storytelling services and programs, hit us up, because we would love to come to your organization, your corporation, talk to you about developing an individualized, customized plan for you and your needs. And we're going to make it happen. Don't even trip. Don't even worry
Trust
about
and
it.
believe. It's going to happen.
So maybe we'll put a link in the bio, or we'll just drop all the contact information so you can get in contact with us.
This is what we going to do, though.
All right, speak
Because
that.
at the end of the day, y'all don't understand. For all of y'all old basketball fans, if y'all out there, y'all just know how certain players, they just don't even necessarily, they run the offensive sets. They don't really run plays. So when we have programs, as Lauren said before, we do it from the point of, we're going to give you what you need. We're not going to sell you what we got.
Right.
Okay? So if you have an idea for a program that has anything to do with the arts, digital storytelling, even if it's oral storytelling, if you have anything in the realm of mental health, whatever the case may be, writing workshops, whatever it is that you see for your students, for your staff, for your colleagues, whoever it may be, I promise you, come to this Feeling Trigger Collaborative, and we're gonna make sure that that you satisfied
Definitely.
after.
Yeah, that's facts. And if you're looking for event space in Prince George's County, because we know that normally you got to go to Virginia, you got to go DC, you got to rent a venue, you got to pay all that money. If you're in Prince George's County and you're looking for an event venue, whether it's for a party, for a retreat, for a hang, for an event, hit up Venues by Artesian. We're literally here right now enjoying all of this scenic. We might have to get some B-roll or something, or some photo. You know what? No, just come to us. Just come and see it.
We've incentivized you.
Yes.
We have. Their prices are fair. Black-owned, dope individuals. So definitely spend your money within the community. And we just need to make Prince George's County just a vibe, just
Yeah.
a space
Absolutely. Absolutely.
to congregate. So,
Yeah.
so boom.
All that and some things.
So there is that.
I mean, yeah, there is that.
Yeah.
That's all the church. So that is all of the church announcements.
You giving a benediction? Who's doing the benediction?
Go ahead, Mama T. You can take us out.
Oh, well, dang. I never did the benediction on the podcast. What I supposed to do?
Well, we just thank the listeners for listening.
Thanks for listening.
Hey guys, look,
give
thanks
them
for
any
coming
final
and
words
thanks
you
for
got.
hanging out. Thanks for checking us out. We appreciate you. We are looking forward to you to be a sprout and a root in what it is that we're doing. We can't do it without you. So we're here for you. Hopefully you're here for us, and we'll just see you next time.
Blessings and favor.
Cool.
Step out.